All right. Hey, everybody. How's it going today? Welcome to the Bearded Bible Thinker podcast. My name is Rob. I'm your host. And today we've got a lot to talk about that I haven't studied for. So it should be really fun and entertaining and probably completely worthless. But if you're tuning in or watching this afterward, thank you. It's really just something for me to do, a way for me to keep up to date with things, and hopefully a way to spread a little bit of encouragement in the face of nothing but terrible news all the time. So first news story that is breaking, that is such a big deal, and if you don't listen to anything else, then hopefully this will be that one thing. The breaking news is this. I trimmed my beard last night, and I don't know if you can tell. I don't have any makeup on, so don't look too intently. But anyway, on to actual news. Okay, so I have the Googler news up here, and there are lots and lots of headlines today to choose from to work through. Obviously, a lot. The biggest news every day right now is the Democratic National Convention. It's a big deal. It's all that's going on in the world. The Kamala Harris makes history and offers a Democratic strategy of unity. That's one of the headlines. Trump fires back at Obama is another one. In a tweet storm, in an all caps tweet storm. Oh no, all caps even. Man, what's the world coming to? All caps. Wow, children. They're all children. Obama forcefully rebukes Trump in a speech to Democratic convention. Obama forcefully rebukes Trump. Here we go. So yesterday, one of the things that we looked at was CNN did what was good and what was bad in the DNC. So today we're going to stroll over to the other side of the aisle and look at Fox. What did they say worked and what didn't? What was the good and bad there? Good grief, this is a lot less helpful. It's like not even a bullet. There's what you want to see in the morning. Ads and politics, right? Gross. Okay. There are, CNN had bullet points. Man, why aren't there bullet? I'm not watching all these videos. Featured notable Okay, the third night of the Democratic National Convention featured notable speeches from former President Barack Obama, former Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton, and vice presidential candidate Kamala Harris. Excuse me. I always mess that up. Among others, it says. In terms of what worked on Wednesday night, former President Barack Obama compellingly communicated the case for Biden's candidacy, delivering an effective call to action and a strong rebuke of President Trump, which seems to be, oh, look, see this right here? Opinion. That's refreshing to see. Okay. All right. Ooh, a quote from Obama. President Obama said this: "I never expected that my successor would embrace my vision or continue my policies. I did hope, for the sake of our country, that Donald Trump might show some interest in taking the job seriously, but he never did," Obama said. It just depends on your definitions, I suppose. Biden's, here's kind of another headline here. Oh, it's a link to another story. Biden's policy agenda takes back seat at Democratic convention as speakers hammer Trump on character. That actually is true. From the I haven't watched every one of them or anything like that, but the videos and articles that I've read, it really does seem like, and I've said this recently in another podcast. But it really does seem like the whole message is Donald Trump is terrible. We need to replace him. They've got to do better than that. The first 3 nights of the DNC reveal that the Democratic Party is employing the same strategy that was used in 2016, building an anti-Trump coalition rather than offering an agenda of change for America. So this is in some ways very true, and actually maybe it's a smart thing what they're doing, but it really just depends. We'll see how people respond. But one of the things that you'll notice if you're watching the DNC or keeping up with it even is that there is such a wide variety of viewpoints there. And they could be doing that on purpose. But out of, who was it? John Kasich, who said in the first night when he had his short little time, John Kasich talked about how he trusts that Joe Biden will not swing far to the left, while at the very same time his presidential or vice presidential candidate Kamala Harris, who you see on the screen right here if you're watching this on YouTube, she is one of the most left-wing sort of socialist radical-ish type of persons that he could have picked from, and then I think it was Bernie Sanders who also at the DNC, or maybe I don't know, I might be mistaken on when, but Bernie Sanders talked about how no, it was at the DNC. Bernie Sanders talked about how he was excited, like that they dropped out of the race, but their movement lives on, and I mean he identifies as a socialist, and some would say he's further than that into communism, and so that there's a lot of mixed messaging there from one viewpoint. That's just you're saying one thing to try to earn votes from these people, but on the other hand, when you look at all the other stuff that's being said, it's actually not true. Like he has already swung a ton to the left just to even get where he's at right now to earn the nomination. But some people will probably look at this whole thing and see the diversity of beliefs and the diversity of viewpoints when it comes to political things in America and whatever else. And that might be refreshing to them. I don't know. To me, it seems like a mixed message and a double standard, but I'm sure there are folks out there who see it otherwise and see that these are people with way different viewpoints working together is what they some people will see it as. So it'll be, again, I say this all the time, but it will be interesting to see how it all plays out. Yeah. So another story that I ran into this morning that is not American politics. Oh, wait, you can do the wave real quick in your living room. It's not American politics. Wonderful. I'm going to pronounce this wrong because I don't know Russian. But the voice of Russia's opposition. So this is NPR, story from NPR. Alexei Navalny. Yeah, Navalny. Whatever. I'm just going to call him Alex. Okay? That's not his name, but that's easier because I'm American. Alex, the voice of Russia's opposition, is hospitalized in possible poisoning. So, yeah, as crazy as it gets here, folks, it could always be crazier. Let's just say for just a moment that it is poison and that they prove it. This is Russia, right? Let's say that they actually prove that Vladimir Putin himself dumped some poison in this cat's drink and took off. You know what's going to happen to him? Nothing. Like Vladimir Putin rules that place with an iron fist. And like everybody and their mama is just afraid of him. And so, look, you can call Trump a dictator. People have joked that President Obama was a dictator because of all the executive order stuff. And executive orders are not meant to do what they've been doing the past two presidents. President Obama and President Trump are misusing what executive orders were meant to do. And it actually, well, it's a whole other thing. But yeah, you might tease that these are dictators, right? And that we have people who are just taking over instead of leading democratically. But man, like they're not poisoning one another, right? None of you at home make any Clinton jokes. Don't even think about it. They're not poisoning one another, right? Like this is crazy. Russia's most outspoken critic of President Vladimir Putin is fighting for his life in a hospital, and his spokeswoman says he believes Navalny was poisoned as he was flying from Siberia back to Moscow. So it was on a plane. Navalny is unconscious and on a ventilator. Spokeswoman Kira Yarmish, who had been traveling with the opposition leader, said. Navalny drank some tea at the airport in Tomsk. These are not English words. Adding that he had... Hey, Siri, I'm not talking to you. Stop talking. Don't do it. Crazy lady. Siri. All right. So anyway, so he drank tea at the airport, and began feeling unwell shortly after his commercial flight took off. I wonder if it actually is poison. Do they have proof of that, or is that just kind of a maybe sort of thing, or something that might have? You know what? Even the fact that they jumped to, even if there's no evidence yet that it was poison, the fact that they jumped to poison, like, says a lot about the culture there, right? And the struggle that they have with leadership. So crazy. Yeah, we don't have problems like that here. we at least not so obvious that they would print news stories about them and like, you know, a lot of the news stories that we get in America, right? Like they are, you can read them. And like I say on here, since I've started the podcast, you take them with a grain of salt quite a bit because they're skewed one way or another. I'm sure every news outlet in some way, shape, because every person is incapable of completely being objective. That's not even possible. But so I'm sure that that's the case everywhere. But the fact that you, like, you would never see this. You'd never see this, right, as a headline on Fox or CNN, right? Like Pelosi in hospital on ventilator after poisoning by Trump. Oh man, it's not funny, but it is. It does show us that there are always, folks. It could always be worse, right? Yeah, it could always be worse. That's the same in the church world. Right, go live in China for a minute, right, and then try and worship freely like we do here every week and throughout the week even. It's everybody there. The worst in America is honestly still way better than a lot of places on this planet. So. I don't really have a ton of commentary. I'm not going to make this a long one today. I'm going to try to start shortening these up a little bit because I can ramble on for an hour and really not get anywhere. But so the takeaway from this for me is like that this is the culture in some places where the The headline is that the voice of Russia's opposition is hospitalized in possible poisoning, right? I mean, we don't have headlines like that. So that we, as crazy as everything is right now, right, with rioting and everything that's going on, this could be where we're at, right? Like this could be where we're at, but it's not, and that's a good thing. So go vote. Don't watch the news all the time. Do you know suicide ideology, which is just a fancy way of saying people that have thought about or are thinking about suicide, is up like by depending on the study, up by almost 25%. That's a lot. That we've got a lot of people who are struggling during this whole pandemic thing, when they're being locked down and locked away, and all the news that you hear, all of it from every angle on social media, from friends arguing about things, from wear your mask, don't tell me what to do, the whole thing is just, man, it's making people crazy. So just understand that there are places on the planet, namely places like this, right up here. Yeah, there we go. At places just like Russia or China, or look, I went to Serbia last year, and it was there were a lot of beautiful things. I loved the culture. But there was a lot of hardship that we don't see as much of here in America. Like there are other places that are extremely worse, a lot worse than what we have it, and even in our worst moments, like I would argue is going on right now. So be encouraged, because it could be much worse, right? Like, stop watching all the news, limit your social media take in, or you will go nuts and be part of that statistic. All right, so here is actually something that I haven't read this yet, but I wanted to give it a whirl. I'm going to start looking on this website more for good news in the midst of this crazy world. It's called the goodnewsnetwork.org. That's the website. And a headline from yesterday says, generous Americans are actually giving more to charities through the pandemic, surveys say. Which, is not completely unexpected, but it is a good thing. And it is encouraging, because it's good news in the midst of crazy, right? So it says this: studies by various different organizations are showing that the frequency of charitable giving, both by private individuals and companies, has remained stable and has even increased during the unprecedented economic uncertainty of the coronavirus pandemic. A statement from Lending Tree, reported that about 2/3 of respondents said they had not changed their charitable giving habits from the previous years. They'd made a charitable donation within the last year, with 34% doing so more than once. The same survey reported that 56% said they make recurring donations, meaning they donate to the same charity or organization once a month or more often. Okay, where's the increase here? Oh, okay. Additionally, the Lending Tree survey recorded increases in forms of giving which aren't usually recorded due to the inability to write them off on one's taxes. Okay, so this is just stuff that isn't write-off, so you don't really keep track of it. These include donating to a local relief fund and sending money to a loved one who was laid off. So this is 13% of people, 12%, plus some consumers, 30%, continue to pay for services they can't use due to social distancing guidelines like housekeeping and babysitting, said the survey. Oh, this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. This is good stuff. So, oh wow, look at that number. That's a big number. Okay, I'm skipping a few paragraphs. Um, Large scale corporate giving actually increased during 2020. That's what this is about. So, together, donors advised a 667% increase in grants to food banks and other food assistance programs across the states. Wowity, wow, wow. So that's cool. That should be some encouraging news. Like, there are people stepping up that you don't hear this kind of stuff reported very often anymore, which isn't good, right? Like, people need the good. I talk about this, if they're going to have these stories for entertainment purposes, and they do, right? No matter what side you're on, it's entertainment more than it's news, for sure. News is just a bullet point list of facts that you then get to decide what to believe about them. Entertainment and propaganda is when a TV station or a network takes those bullet points and changes the headline on purpose to make it look a certain way or feel a certain way, or come off a certain way, to get a rise out of people, to get money in the bank, to get ratings up. That's what goes on most of the time. But it would be really, really nice, right, in the midst of all the stuff that we get talked to about, that we get reported today. It would be really, really helpful and nice to sometimes get some awesome news like this. Like, this is just good news. It's great news that people, by and large, there are folks who are giving more and caring more and see the need and taking advantage and giving to people who they see are in need. Particularly when it's not a tax write-off. I mean, that actually is giving, right? Like, some companies I know give because it's a tax write-off and because it helps them. And so they might as well help somebody while they help themselves. But to not that I'm totally discounting that as charity. It's still a good thing. But to give, despite the fact that there isn't a tax write-off for whatever it is, that's real giving. That's like, I'm not getting anything out of this, and I'm giving to you directly. So that's really awesome. That's awesome to see. Good stuff. So schools are starting back. Schools are starting back in locally here. They're starting back soon. And I know my youngsters have started their school stuff a little bit and are easing back into it. They're homeschooled, so it's a little different ball game for us. That nothing really changed much last year for my boys, but with that going on, I just want to encourage you to pray for, support teachers and people who work in these school systems. There's a lot of adversity that they're going to be dealing with. There's a lot of, in fact, probably as I'm saying this, anyone listening already has an opinion of some sort. And just understand that they're dealing with 500 different of those on a daily basis. And they support them, right? Before we jump on their case or jump on the school board for doing this or that we don't like, let's ask them, let's thank them and then ask them what they need from us. Is there any way that we can serve you? How can we help you? Thank you for putting in all these extra hours to figure this thing out. And there is a place for, I know, it's a free country and freedom of speech and all the stuff, right? But there is a place for, hey, thanks for doing what you do. I don't agree with all the stuff you came up with. In fact, some of it I strongly disagree with, but thank you for putting in the time and the work and caring about the kids. How can I help you? Boy, wouldn't that be novel? Wouldn't that be a new, wonderful thing to try, right? let's try this week, the rest of this week. Actually, no, I'm just going to challenge you, whoever's watching this today. I want to challenge you, do something actively to be a blessing to someone else, instead of complaining. Do something actively to be a blessing to someone else instead of complaining, even if it's something as simple as a compliment that maybe they weren't expecting, right? Do something that is going to bless somebody and help them and make them perk up a little bit, right? Do a little encouraging. Don't be more discouraging news to someone. Right? The whole point of Christianity is that we get to be good news. We get to be the good news and share the good news to people of Jesus Christ. So let's do that in action today, as well as in word and deed. So, all right. That's really all I got for you. So I'm just going to say one last thing. Are you ready? Think about it.